Welcome back to Rivers of London and the final part of our final case file in this season, the Stone of Scone. I am your GM Hedge, and I am delighted to be taking these three investigators through what I hope to be a satisfying and thrilling finale. Isabelle, you are driving incredibly quickly through the town of Edinburgh in the Beetle. You have stuck the temporary lights on the roof. You are blaring the blues and twos out as you struggle to maneuver your way through the cramped streets of Edinburgh and get yourself over to the other end of town, which is proving problematic because not only is the entirety of the centre of Edinburgh completely shut down because of the coronation that was happening tomorrow, but the cars are still flowing, and so they, like you, are trying to travel around this ridiculously sized roadblock in the centre of the town. So you're having to go well out of your way, still with cars jam-packed bumper to bumper the entire way through, and get around from the north of the city to the south. Give me a drive auto.
This is definitely not one of my better skills. This is what the boss is for. Oh, God, no. That's an 81 out of 30. Even the green dice are betraying me now.
Nate, you get the distinct impression, sitting in the passenger seat, that Isabelle is not nature's driver.
It's not a tractor.
Nate is on the verge of saying something and then stops to realize what happened the last time he tried to drive here, driving on the wrong side of the road. So probably shouldn't criticize anybody else.
The problem is that Isabelle is spending quite a lot of time driving on the wrong side of the road because the cars are just jam-packed, and she's gone up on some bumpers, she's had to go the wrong way around a roundabout, she's made her way out to Portobello, which is in the east end of town, is the complete wrong direction, and is now circling back towards this giant ancient volcano that sits in the middle of Edinburgh called Arthur's Seat, trying desperately to find a way round to the south of the city.
I feel like we're trying to navigate Washington, D.C., where no matter where you go, you end up passing the Capitol Dome again and again and again. You all right over there, Officer Wood?
I am beginning to think it might be faster if we just get out and run.
Rhodri, you are running along a tunnel, following your urchin friend, Spike. The tunnel feels like it's under Edinburgh. It feels very much like the last time you were running through these tunnels. It feels like you're in another age, another place. You burst out of one of the tunnels. You're running along a lock that you're pretty sure hasn't existed in 600 years before diving back down another alleyway, slipping through another wall, finding yourself back into modern Edinburgh, diving between cars. And you look up in confusion going like, hold on a minute, this place seems really modern. Is that a hover path? Before diving through another wall, running down a small alleyway, finding yourself in a cave, crawling through it, just trying to keep pace with Spike. Give me a constitution roll as you make your way through time and space.
I've rolled 80 over 55.
This entire thing is exhausting, weird, wonderful, but fundamentally it is disorienting. Please take impaired as you make your way through all of this. And it's not long later, Izzy, that you pull up outside of this Chamber Street Museum to see there is a hole in the side of it. And there's a whole bunch of people standing around looking a bit confused, taking photos. A whole bunch of people have their phones out and are recording the whole thing. But it's like there's a chunk missing out of the side of this building.
Park badly, jump out, tell Mile to stay in the car, and go and investigate.
Nate has an expert skill in demolitions. Would he be able to tell how this hole happened or how it didn't?
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Wonderful. I'll take that demolition roll.
47 under 60. He finally gets something accomplished.
Probably C4. This is a big explosion. This is really dangerous to do in a city. This is dumb. Looks like someone blew a hole from the inside out. So the most important thing you pick up immediately is that the C4 was placed inside the building. It's probably C4 or it might be something else, but it's military-grade explosives.
Okay, but it's a conventional thing. It's not a magical thing. I think that's his first priority.
It's a fairly clear, conventional situation here.
Yeah, it's blown from the inside out there. I don't know what we're going to find inside.
As you're running up, it is JJ who is keeping the crowds at bay and trying to put up some police tape with a whole bunch of other uniforms.
JJ,
Izzy,
has anyone been hurt?
a couple of people injured, got an ambulance on the way, but nothing life-threatening. Do you know what's happening?
You're not going to believe this, but it's Anum?
Patel.
Yes, I don't know what the heck's going on, but she's on a one-woman crusade to return things that have been stolen. We're trying to find her.
Rhodri, you step through a wall. You are in a darkened corridor. The urchin steps forward and there's a door in front of him, and he opens it. You see a short, lithe woman, dressed all in black, leaning down in front of what appears to be some kind of package that she's leaned against a wall. And not far from her, sitting in the middle of this building... Wait, it's not a building, it's a museum. You're in the museum. Sitting in the middle of this room is a white transit van. And actually, most of the museum around you has been emptied.
Does Spike look like he's about to deliver the message?
He is running up towards the tell right now to deliver the message.
If I can, Moderator, I'd like to place myself. If Spike's running out to deliver the message, I don't want to be in line of sight when Patel looks up towards Spike. I want Patel to see the message.
Stealth roll.
I got this, guys. Oh, I do got this. 42 under 60.
Have you failed a roll?
Failed my constitution on the way here. I'm impaired.
That's fine. That's fine.
I am magical, though, so it's unusual for me to fail a roll. That's me, Newman, magical rather than Rhodri.
I played enough Call of Cthulhu where you failed every roll.
Exactly.
Ended up losing 20 san and going crazy and murdering half the party, so I'm not sure that's true.
It's a karmic cycle.
However, in this case, you step behind a wall and you watch as the little boy steps up, slips the note into Patel's pocket, and then runs off. She grabs at him, she misses him, and she's like, hey. She pulls out the note, looks at it, looks round.
As she pulls out the note, do I see what the little package is that she's placing down?
You've no idea. It's a package of some kind.
Can I use Impello Palmer to whip it towards me?
Give me a magic roll.
38 under 60. Yeah.
So your Impello Palmer reaches out, grabbing for this package and pulling it towards you. As it does so, she looks up and suddenly a fireball comes flying towards you. Give me a dodge roll.
Shield.
Do you want a shield instead?
Yeah, I think so. That's his reaction.
Okay. Your shield is not mastered, is it?
No, it's the spell I have that's not mastered.
This is under pressure, which means that I'm really sorry, it is a penalty die.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, the first roll was 95.
Are you impaired now?
You feel pain, and you are knocked down. A few seconds later, you feel more magic happening. And then you hear an explosion, which rocks you and everything around you. Give me a constitution roll here.
Okay, that's 23 under 55, so that's a hard success.
So you are presently down. So you have been hurt, bloodied, and you are down.
Oh.
But with that constitution roll, what I'm going to give you is some level of vision. As the explosion rocks, you manage to drag yourself out and forward as you see Patel run towards the van, get into it, start up this VW classic van, and just power drive through the hole she's just created in the wall out onto Chambers Street, screeching to the south and driving off towards the centre of town. It's about a minute later that Izzy and Nate run in and see your slightly charred body lying there as you manage to get yourself up into a seated position, confused but shaking it off.
Oh, good grief.
Would you like to spend some luck to shake this off and get back up on your feet?
Yes, I would, please. How much luck would I need to spend?
I'm looking it up, but Lynne might know off the top of her head.
Well, it's not a mortal wound.
No,
And it's mortal wounds you normally have to spend luck for.
you're just down.
After the fight, down. You make a partial recovery. You look terrible. Ruffled, torn, dirty, or bloodstained clothes. I mean, let's face it, are we going to notice? So you're hurt until the end of the following day, or you can spend 10 luck points to remove the check mark from the hurt box. And you are impaired until the end of the following day, or you can spend another 10 points to shrug that off as well. So 20 luck points in total if you really want to go for it.
I will spend 20 luck points. Adrenaline pumping. I need to get my head in the game. Patel's going down. This got personal. So I can uncheck hurt, bloody, down, and impaired. Is that correct?
Yes.
You may.
I am disheveled. I have probably got one side of my face that's very bright red. Probably the big coif of hair on one side has been burnt in as well, so the hair is only kind of poofed out on the other side, and clothes are burnt and dusted, and I'll be pulling myself off the floor.
Nathan's standing over you, offering you a hand to help you back up.
Yeah, and he'll take it. Bloody Patel, you know, she was right here with her van, stealing things.
But she had a van in here.
She had her van in here, she drove it right out of that bloody hole there. I tell you what, that Patel is in for a right bloody telling up.
Sir, we're still officers of the law.
Right, no.
Trust me, I know. I'm not exactly thrilled with her myself, but you know everybody's eyes are on us.
I think as you're having this conversation, you're all heading back to the Volkswagen Beetle.
Mm-hmm.
And looked like she was driving to the centre of town. Come on now, we've got to get going, come on.
Well, I'm not leaving Mile in the car. We'll grab Mile, we'll go where you say you saw her driving off to. I was hoping she was just going to take one or two things so we could at least know what she's got, but...
The thing that I pulled towards me, Keeper, has that gone as well?
I think that was the explosives.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remove.
Yes, unfortunately you fumbled your shield, and so you were unable to stop her in any way, shape, or form.
Rodney, you said she had a van in here?
She had a white van, you know, like an actual van, like a transit van, camper van, like.
Moderator, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. The package was the bomb that blew the hole?
Yes.
So, wondering how she got the van in here to begin with.
Yeah, I'm wondering that.
It was in here and then she blew the hole from inside.
That's not the most unbelievable thing because it's the ground floor. The museum has ways of bringing things in and out. It's not insane for that to have happened, although it is odd how she got access to it and how she managed to load up all these things. You look around and it is, with nothing in it, slightly harder to tell, but as you make your way out, it is clearly a room that was hosting a large number of artifacts from the Indian subcontinent. Rhodri, you get inside the Beetle, you turn the ignition, you push down the clutch, you put it into first, you hit that accelerator, and you start flying away. Give me a drive roll. I'm going to give you a bonus die because, quite frankly, you're so angry that you're going to just...
I got a 3. I rolled a 3.
Yes. You handbrake turn onto South Bridge. You naturally know exactly where you're going as you head down towards the grass market. You don't know how, you don't know why, you can't get through town, but you can definitely get under. And we're going to pan out for a second from this car as it drives along the street. I'm going to see the manse where 2 elderly looking ladies are going to just push open the door. Hello? You are going to see them step in, quietly pick up the stone, and then the pixies are on them. A battle erupts as these 2 rivers attempt to take the stone from the manse, and hundreds of pixies fly out from every single surface, landing and fighting. But the pixies are blown back by water. Suddenly, coming up from nowhere, these little old ladies just like pull out weapons and start fighting back. And a literal, unbelievable, indescribable battle between river and fae folk erupts in the manse. And you have no idea.
Go Pixies.
Rhodri, you are driving the Beetle down towards the grass market. There is a solid stone wall directly in front of you. Sitting in the passenger seat beside you is Spike. You look at Spike. You look at the wall. You look back to Spike. You look back to the wall. What do you do?
I quickly rip out. In fact, I find a wrapper and I just get my pen and I just write a quick word on this wrapper, hand it to Spike and say, Patel, deliver this to Patel now.
Car goes through the brick wall. Nate, who would you say you're most friendly with when it comes to rivers?
I work most closely with Potomac. I wouldn't say personal friends, but we have a professional rapport.
Okay. Tell me about Potomac.
The uniform of people in my line of work who work along the Potomac, is the black suit, black tie, black glasses. Potomac is who we got that from.
You are riding on a horse, bareback, beside Potomac, with his black suit, black tie, black glasses. You are going through the bountiful forests of the East Coast. You are heading towards the Appalachian Mountains. They are beautiful, they are gorgeous, it's a path. And Potomac turns to you and he says, "What are we hunting?"
Some troublemakers over on the other side of the water, bombing a museum, stealing artifacts, trying to recruit a young Genii Licorum.
He looks you up and down and he says,
It's politics,
"Politics. Good enough for me." And the horse just starts speeding up and the two of you just head out into this wilderness. Give me a track roll.
That's a 95 over 60. I'm willing to spend the 35 if I have to.
I think it might be more fun for us to push this roll.
Yeah, and let the boss show me up.
That's exactly it. So Potomac heads off and he's just going faster than you. He's heading out. He seems to know exactly where he's going. But you're coming up on a choice. There's a left turn and there's a right turn. And it looks like Potomac's going to take the right turn. Something about this isn't quite right with you. Push that roll.
I close my eyes, I listen to nature around me, I listen for the hoofbeats, and I'm assuming I go left because I rolled a 41 under 60.
Rhodri, you are driving through what appear to be tunnels that should not fit a car, and suddenly in front of you there is a choice, a right or a left turn. And you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go right then, I guess. And just as you're about to make that decision, from out of nowhere, Nate, who looks half out of it in the back, screams left.
Left, left, left!
Right. Well, as I say right, turn left. And I'm going right.
Oh, left!
Isabelle, you are fairly certain this is Edinburgh Zoo. You are standing looking over one of your favourite exhibits, the Penguin Parade. And you are watching as maybe 100 penguins walk past you, waddling, following the zookeeper who holds out some fish. You turn to your right. Beside you, there is a penguin. This ride's a little different. He doesn't look like he's wearing an evening jacket. He is wearing an evening jacket. And he looks at you, and he looks back, and you get the feeling like he owes you a favour.
Now, Rhodri's mentioned penguin, hasn't he?
Yeah. Union.
Union, yeah. Oh, heck. What am I going to ask him?
Same thing you ask any penguin. You hear Rhodri's voice in your head.
Is this going to be a dad joke?
No, I'll leave it there.
I don't understand. It's been a long day.
I, as your GM, am in no way leading you. I have no idea what you're going to ask this penguin for.
Right. I know this is probably a bit cheeky, seeing as we've not been formally introduced, Mr. Union, but I'm DC Wood. I work with DS Roger Cadwallader. I believe you've had tea with him.
Union stares at you.
Can you help us bring this whole mess to a safe conclusion? I'm just really scared someone's going to get hurt.
Give me a social roll.
Oh, God. Which set of treacherous dice should I use, people? Okay, blue dice. Be good. That's 40 under 60. And I will spend 10 points of luck to make that a hard success.
Suddenly, there is a path leading through the zoo, deeper into trees and the branches and in amongst all the animals. And it seems to be winding along. It looks very inviting. And you realize you are holding on to a small, golden key. On the end of the key, there's a little label attached, little red label, and in beautiful penmanship, the letter L.
Thank you.
Rhodri, the other two are unconscious in the seats behind you. You are pretty sure you are travelling somewhere in the region of 110 miles per hour under the streets of Edinburgh. The car bursts out of one of these islands, sails over a train track, lands in the middle of Waverley Station, and then you do a handbrake turn onto another set of train tracks. I, of course, need another drive roll here to determine how much of this car is going to survive this.
So I've just rolled an 8.
Guys, he's not cheating. No one's going to believe this, but he is not cheating.
One of the things I love about these games is when you roll bad. It's one of the funnest things to lean into all the things that go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Rhodri just can't fail.
I don't think I've ever had a character that's been so lucky with rolls. So
Well, do you know my belief that the dice want to tell the story?
exactly. Yeah, I do. And I subscribe to that, Lynn, very much.
Why don't you tell me how this goes? You're in the Beetle, you are driving through Waverley train station, and you are heading out towards the north. You know that there is a tunnel that leads that way because you've been through it with a ghost train.
I think with a roll that is an 8, the car handbrakes, skids onto this new set of tracks, is driving through the train station, but there is a train that appears to be coming the other way, and it's that very classic bright light shining out the front of it, possibly even someone beeping the horn, the noise horrifically loud, and I think with that roll, almost half accident, half on purpose, Rhodri tries to maneuver around the train, and as he does it, he almost kind of bops the car up onto the inside of the tunnel wall and almost does like a loop around the tunnel wall and then back onto the tracks on the other side as the train goes past. And as much as Rhodri is in complete fear of what he's done, it may have just looked like to anybody who was able to witness it, even though everyone seems to be unconscious, that was the most amazing thing he's ever done in his life.
Basically, one of his favourite films is The Italian Job. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah.
With a Volkswagen, I'm thinking Herbie, but
Yeah, I was thinking more of that. What was it? Live and Let Die, the really embarrassing car effects that are brilliant at the same time, where the car kind of jumps and rolls. Something along those lines. Not as cool as The Italian Job.
That's an actual jump. They actually did that physically.
Yeah.
I want to be absolutely clear, Rhodri, that this is genuinely amazing, and that neither Isabelle or Nate are conscious to see it happen.
Yeah.
But as you burst out of the tunnel into George V Park, retracing the steps of the ghost train, suddenly ahead of you is the white van of Anum Patel. And Nate, you mostly regain consciousness at this sort of time, and you see the white van ahead of you. You feel your handgun in your side pocket, and you go, finally, I can be of use.
he's got that in one hand, he's got a knife in the other, he is ready for war. He's also wondering why his head hurts as much as it does, because going through a stunt like that while being folded into a Volkswagen cannot have been comfortable.
Does Rhodri see that Nate's awake?
Yeah, Nate's awake, and he's holding a handgun in his hand, and he seems to be rolling the windows down manually.
Shoot the bloody tires out, man! Shoot the tires out!
I'm happy to give that a shot.
Pun intended.
Firearms. That's why we need the Americans.
It's a 93 over 60, and I don't think you can push in combat.
The shot goes into the back of the van, but doesn't manage to hit the tire as you turn in and you're heading down this cycle path, heading closer and closer to the docks of Leith. Isabelle, you are walking down this path, and as you head further into it, it becomes more and more overgrown. There is a dull golden light coming from every direction. The trees appear to be growing, and instead of feeling natural, there is something unnatural about the thickness of the trees, and their canopy cover above you is getting darker and darker until you can no longer see the blue sky, but instead there's a golden light permeating everything around you. You step forward into a small clearing, and there, sitting in the clearing, is a large, very impressive chest. It is covered in gold and painted purple.
Oh, So Spike was being quite literal with his little box. Well, it's time to go up there and unlock that chest and get Leith out of it, I think.
Give me a power roll as you click this key in the lock and open the top of this chest.
Another magic trap.
There we go. Magic trap explosion of consciousness again. Oh, actually, no, that is a 60, which is bang on.
And hold me fucking captive, will you fucking old bitch?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
As he just explodes out of this thing, and he goes, "You,
Not me.
you fucking do." And he grabs your hand, and you are in the car. So Nate is leaning out of the window shooting. You are sitting in the other seat in the back. And suddenly Leith is in the little seat in between the two of you. And he looks at Nate, and you can see he's tempted to push Nate out of the car. And he goes, "No, what are we fucking driving in? The fuck is this?
It's my car, you know, it's...
This won't fucking do." And he clicks his hands, and suddenly, like, it expands, and it grows in all the different directions. And suddenly, you are driving something twice the size. And as it keeps growing and growing and growing, you realize that the handle changes and that you're in a train. You are in the ghost train, and you are suddenly holding on as this giant thing just expands in every direction. Let's get the fucker.
Does the ghost train have the maneuverability of a car?
No,
It's a train.
but you still have the steering wheel in your hand.
Well, I know, but it's a ghost train. It might not abide by the same rules, so I can't ram the white van, is what I'm asking.
Don't think we're following any rules, but you can definitely try and ram the van. Do you want to try and speed up and ram the van?
Yeah, I do.
All right, give me that drive roll.
Oh, okay, so I got 92 over 60.
So I think as you begin driving up trying to ram the van, it goes down a side street. And then the whole ghost train just slams into the wall and just breaks the side of this wall of this apartment building. And then the van basically drives onto this little boat that's sitting in the docks of Leith. The train comes to a stop just at the side of the docks. And Leith's like, "How's my fucking boat? She's fucking nicked my boat. Get her. Get the fuck. Come on, she's gonna take my boat."
Seems like we're fairly close. Would I be able to get a better shot?
What are you shooting?
I'm assuming I can't see individual people inside the van. I'm picturing a van with, the double doors in the back with the windows. I'm going to aim for one of those back windows on the theory that that should basically line up with the driver.
Oh, okay. She is getting out of the van, so you could take a shot at Patel if you want.
Okay, sure.
Firearms?
That's more like it. That's a 38 under 50.
All right. She's going to get a dodge, or she's going to rather dive for cover here as you shoot at her. This is the first roll I've made of the game. Oh, you clip her in the leg. And she is now bleeding as she stumbles her way.
Izzy's just yelling no and jumping out of the car because this is not on.
Yeah, Rhodri's jumping down from the train as well, and he's shouting. He shouts after Patel. "Patel, read the note!"
She looks back at you. Is that a social? Yes, it is. All right, give me a social roll.
Oh, 3.
What does the note say?
The note says, "You're nicked."
She looks at you with complete disdain, and she gets into this little driver's hatch and she just hits a lever, and suddenly the boat just starts accelerating away from the dock. If you want to get onto the boat, I need athletics rolls.
Okay. Can I just check, where is Mile in all of this?
When you woke up, Mile was not there. However, he is a genii locum, and you did go back underneath the Mile, so you're not particularly worried.
As long as he's all right.
28 under 60.
32 under 40.
Oh, I'm just putting every single dice. I'm going to need a bigger dice gel. That's 96 out of 70. I am not getting on the boat.
Do you want to push this roll?
Oh, I'm going to have to, aren't I? So she's running along. She sort of almost makes a jump for it, but she hesitates because she's just still... Oh, hang on. I'm impaired. That's a fumble.
Oh, nice. How shall we play this out?
That will not be a pushing then.
No. Rhodri, you jump to the boat and land on it and turn in time to see Isabelle stumble on her run-up and begin tripping and falling down. If you don't jump back, she's going to fall in the water.
I'm guessing I can't Impello Palmer her aggressively onto the boat.
You definitely can Impello Palmer her onto the boat. You can Impello her such that she doesn't fall into the water after taking a tumble and doing some serious damage. But you will fry anything that she's carrying electronically.
Isabelle knows better than to carry electronics around me.
Well, at least electronics that are on.
Give me a magic roll.
4. Literally 4. I just can't.
He's using weighted dice, it must be. There's no other explanation for this at all.
I've actually just scratched all the numbers off.
Between you and Lynne, it's a normal set of rolls. It's just that all of the good ones are going to you. You impello her down. Isabelle, you are hurt as you are slammed by this impello blast, knocking you down. But you do not fall into the water, but the boat is now heading away from you.
Question?
Yes, Nate.
So as I understand it, Rhodri drives an older car because newer cars would have trouble with magic.
Yes.
Would the same thing be true of a motorboat?
Potentially. This is quite a large boat because there's a fan on it. It appears to be the replacement for the ghost train, which was vaguely mentioned a couple of times.
Yes.
Okay.
And it is driving out into the Forth. Nate and Rhodri, you are on the boat. Not too far from you is the bridge, which is where you last saw Patel.
Where's Leith? Is Leith on the side with Isabelle?
You haven't seen Leith.
Isabelle!
I don't think Nathan knows the city well enough to realize that this is the Forth. He's still figuring Patel is the threat here. He's running up behind her. He's got his pistol in one hand. He pulls down his sunglasses that he basically lives in. One of his advantages is scary, which means he gets a bonus die on intimidation. So when he pulls down the glasses, there is something just cold in those eyes. Stand down.
Which would probably be fine, except she hits you with an impello and you potentially go flying. Give me dexterity to stop yourself being knocked off the boat.
That's a 76 over 60. Can I spend some luck?
Absolutely.
Spending 16 luck.
It also means you have a relatively clear shot at her if you want.
Yeah, I think that's probably the move.
As Nathan's gun's going up, do I have an opportunity to shout something?
Absolutely.
As he was dodging the impeller, I was trying to shout to Isabelle and just kind of say, Isabelle, the bridge! Catch on the bridge!
Which one? There's 3.
And I'm just like pointing wildly.
It's 10 miles upstream.
In the wrong direction.
I love it though, yeah, totally.
Get to the bridge with Spike! Rhodri just has no idea what he's shouting to Isabelle. He's just going for it and then turns and sees Nathan pulling the gun towards Patel. And Rhodri will just kind of say, alive! Nathan, we need her alive, all right? We can't arrest a dead body now, can we? If he had time to say any of that.
I definitely think you're allowed to shout alive as Nate turns his gun on Patel.
Yeah, he's trying to disable, not kill.
Right, give me a fairly important firearms roll.
That's a 39 under 50.
The shot takes her in the shoulder and has clearly hurt her, and she drops down onto her knees. Then she looks up at you with such anger in her eyes, and lightning comes flying towards you.
Is there anything I can do about that other than just dodge?
You can try dodge, but Rhodri could potentially help you here.
Yeah, I'm going to chuck a shield up.
You'll have to dive in front of him to do it.
I will dive in front of him and use shield.
Excellent.
It's a success. It's 42 under 60.
Nate, for a moment, you think this is it. Your luck has finally run out. You are staring death in the eye, and as this, it's not actually lightning, but it looks like lightning, but it's incredibly slow. It arcs towards you, side to side, coming for you, piercing at you, coming flying out of her hands. What is your last thought as you await what is your inevitable demise?
So I see Rhodri trying to dive in front of me. Leith does not know that this is a shield. He puts out an arm to stop Rhodri from getting in front of him. If somebody's going to take a bullet for somebody else, it's not going to be somebody else for him.
That's brilliant. You put out your arm and attempt to stop him, but nothing can stop Rhodri Cadwallader as he pushes past you. He knocks you back with his shield. The ball of lightning comes slamming into the shield, and Rhodri, it hurts. This was an explosion of energy. This is probably a third, potentially fourth order spell that you just absorbed with your shield. And you are standing over Nate Reed, who you have knocked to the ground, staring down Patel with 2 bullet wounds in her side. What do you do?
I'm going to pull a fireball into my hand, like hold one arm out, aim towards Patel, and the other with the fireball kind of fiercely, almost growling. It's such an angry incarnation of this fireball. And I am eye contact with Patel, and I'm just saying, Patel, there's no way out of this. You stand down now. You stand down.
Silvery shield erupts around her.
You blink and it's over. Everybody knows what's going on, Patel. There's no way out of this. Leith knows. Isabelle knows. The Force knows. Everybody knows, Patel. And you know who else knows? Maya.
I just need to get a little further. I just need to get far enough out into fourth. And then she said, once I'm away from Leith, I'm free.
You're not going to be free, Patel. You'll never be free of this. You'll be hunted.
By you. I'll take my chances. And she fires another ball of lightning at you. You have a choice here. You can let the fireball go, and it will definitely go faster than the ball of lightning because it's prepped. Or you can drop it and put your own shield up.
Fireball.
Give me that magic roll.
In that same moment, can I fire again?
Firearms.
28 under 60. Hard success for the fireball.
87 over 50. Still a little dazed.
The shot gets absorbed by the shield, which disrupts it for just a second. And suddenly, Patel is on fire in front of you, Rhodri. The pain in her eyes as she is immolated in front of you is just unbelievable. The smell of burnt flesh fills the bridge room, and you can't stop her as she leaps over the side of the boat into the water. It is the next morning. You are in the manse. Rhodri, Isabelle, and Nate are at a small table, filling out the paperwork. What's happened over the past 16 hours?
You mean apart from the bollocking from Nogatch they're all gonna get?
Yeah.
You know what? The stone did end up getting back to where it belonged. The manse was wrecked. There are an awful lot of very confused pixies wandering around with one hell of a headache. But the stone did end up back where it belonged. So technically, Nogatch is
Pacified to some degree.
pacified. It's a perfect word.
So I think having come back and probably seen the state of the manse and recognising the actions of the pixies, either Rhodri or Isabelle's probably gone out to get the pixies some treats, some sugar and stuff, just because
I've been out and bought them an entire bag of Tate and Lyle.
they've absolutely stepped up and defended the fort. Rhodri's probably kept himself to himself after what he's done to Patel.
Did you actually tell Izzy what you did to Patel?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And he was almost broken and possibly even crying as he did it. Most likely removed himself to Taggart to just put as much information as he can in because he wants everybody to be aware that Patel is potentially on the loose.
Obviously, Izzy's stunned because as much as Patel had gone off the rails, she was still a friend. She doesn't really know quite what to think because that just seems to have escalated beyond any kind of acceptable level.
Rhodri does explain how repeatedly either Nathan or him would have been dead if action wasn't taken to immobilise her.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely in shock. She's also still worried about Mile, so she probably went out to look for him just to tell him that his mum's gone.
Where did you go?
Up to the Royal Mile.
It's very busy there right now. The coronation is literally in the morning.
Actually, she's not going to go up to the Royal Mile. She's going to go back to the tunnel that we went through with the ghost train and just head into there and call out his name and see if she can find him.
You come back to that chamber where you originally found Mile, and you call out his name, and there's a mood, a confused mood inside the tunnel.
Mile?
It's like he knows you're there, but he's not quite ready to talk yet.
Mile? Come find me when you're ready, or let me know where you want to meet me, all right?
There is maybe the softest sound, just a little sniffle.
I'm going to leave my packets of fruit polos and a pocket pack of tissues in the middle of the chamber, and then just basically whisper goodbye, but come and find your Auntie Izzy when you're ready.
And so it is that the three of you are standing to parade attention as the crowning of Charles III occurs in central Edinburgh. There is a distinct attempt by the police to stop the protests of the Republicans. There is a distinct attempt by the Republicans to make sure they get on TV. There are crowds of happy monarchists waving tiny little flags. And there is one old lady given pride of place in both the church service and the procession down the mile. And she smiles and she nods. And at one point in time, she looks up to the three of you as she passes. And she just nods. You have one last thing to do?
Nathan reports back to his superiors, of course. Stone has been recovered. Miles seems to be mostly okay. Recommend putting the recruitment on pause. He thinks back about the last couple of days. He's exactly where he belongs, at least for now. If that ever changes, send an invitation to both of them. And he's going to go off and do some very deep thinking about where exactly he belongs. He does not like the idea that he was ordered to put somebody in the position of grabbing a magically trapped artifact.
And of course, it's difficult because then you get your next orders and you're shipped off to a secure location somewhere in the Nevada desert. You were handed a spacesuit and told, unfortunately, that the moon is haunted.
Well, of course it is.
If I had the opportunity to see Spike, I've got a note that I've written, probably thought quite hard on, and I give it to him and just say, right then, Spike, I really appreciate this. I'm not going to come with you. Would you get this note to Patel for me, please?
He looks at you and then he nods. What did the note say?
It said 3 things. I'm sorry. Let Isabelle know you're okay. And fancy a coffee and a catch-up.
Thank you all very much for playing Rivers of London with me and completing my campaign, Waters of Leith. It was an absolute pleasure running you all through it. Thank you for wandering through the crazed machinations of my brain. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And I really hope at some point we get to return to this wonderful world and these wonderful characters. That was so much fun, everyone.
That was a huge amount of fun, thank you.
What an opportunity.
Great.
Is Forth now the big Machiavellian kind of god powered up supervillain?
No, she's just posh.
It's just Forth.
Leith and Union are the only 2 rivers that are not the children of Forth. And so they have their own ways of dealing with things in the city.
Philosophically, I kind of like the idea, given how much of this centered around the place where you belong through the point of view of rivers that are always going someplace else.
Mm.
And it's interesting the way that in Rivers games that I've GM'd and games that people have told me about, and now this one, there is always that streak of kindness and people trying to help each other. I mean, okay, it all went a bit fireball, gung-ho, murder hobo at the end there. But, we had an American, what can you expect? It's interesting that you do get this sort of gentler compassion, wanting to redeem the protagonists thing going on through Rivers, which is lovely.
I did like the NPC child characters in that respect. I think they brought a sense of nurture to the actions of the characters. So Mile obviously became an adopted nephew to all of us, essentially, but especially Isabelle. I think gameplay-wise, it was a really lovely way to get some hooks into us as the PCs, but also it was a nice way to kind of flavour what some of those actions are going to be. There was a child on the scene, so it does limit what you can do. Not everybody can be set on fire.
I think that's the distinction between Call of Cthulhu and Rivers of London, which is in Rivers of London, everything can't be set on fire.
Yeah.
Technically?
I do think that final conflict was building up to a do or die.
Oh, yeah.
I thought either Nathan was going to die or Rhodri was going to die.
Patel had no interest in keeping you alive there.
I'm very pleased that Patel didn't actually just burn on the deck of the ship and that Patel did jump off the side and there's that unknown kind of aspect to it. But I think in Rhodri's mind, if Spike agreed to deliver the message, that's telling him that Patel is able to have a message delivered to her, so she's alive.
And it's always nice to have your nemesis hanging around out there.
Absolutely. Although I'm not convinced Patel is Rhodri's nemesis. I think she's Izzy's nemesis.
Maybe it's my age, but I'm definitely getting the Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, they're still good in her thing going as far as Izzy's concerned.
That's why she's Izzy's nemesis. You don't choose your nemesis, Lynne. Your nemesis chooses you. Not sure how that works.
I didn't want it to be quite, are we the baddies? But I did want it to feel full of conflict. Like, I wanted the bad guy to have a point. Like, she's doing a good thing in a bad way. Because I just think that it's more interesting.
Definitely. You did a good job of it.
Thank you. Maybe a little bit on the system. So from my perspective, I think it runs really smooth. There's a few bits and pieces, mostly revolving around the various ways luck is used, that I didn't immediately get my head around. But I think we got to try all of them out over this campaign. So hopefully people listening get to sort of internalize this stuff. So if you get beaten up, you've got to spend luck to bounce back. You can try your luck on things. Luck is much more easily spent here than in other BRP games because you should spend it because you gain it back at the next case file. And getting your head around that side of things maybe just take a little bit longer if you're a bit more used to Cthulhu. But that being said, I think it's really an interesting way of playing because you want to succeed, you should be succeeding. It's a story, it's an adventure, and it's one where you're expecting at the end your investigators to have succeeded. And so that liberal use of luck is definitively a way we can make that happen.
And that was something that we worked with Ben, obviously, on. And it's the reason that the Genii Locorum's powers are based on luck is because that felt right in the fact that you're basically using your luck to play with fate and affect the world around you. So, yeah, that was something that we really wanted to incorporate. And thankfully, you know, Mike and Paul had already designed the luck system, which just fed beautifully into that in terms of allowing players that freedom to really play with their character's fate.
It's the bit of the game that's a bit more complex that it might be worth spending a little bit more time getting the hang of. The other bit being the slightly complicated aspect of magic, but that should be a bit more complicated. And I think what's great is I was looking through magic for Patel there, and I was barely scratching the surface of how deep you can get into it, and it looks like there's just so much there. So that'll be great for campaign play as Rhodri builds up and becomes even more powerful.
Yeah, it's
Players, your experience of Rivers of London.
well, one thing I, sorry. It is so interesting to me what happens with a system like this when you're coming into it as a character that does not have the magic that everybody else does, especially if you have somebody who is by nature leaning into combat where they are at a tremendous disadvantage, but they know that. Just, it is an interesting thing to explore.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I think both of our additional players brought something really, really different to the game. Stu brought a character who was complicated, who managed to bring a very different perspective, and also had quite a cool, odd, tragic, successful story going on. And then Nate came in and gave us confusion and conflict and a different way of going things, but really helped us build to a really nice climax.
Mm-hmm.
Just the bringing in of the firearm really changed the way that last session went. I think for the better. I think that's what we needed in our final session. So thank you, Steve. I think it was really, really great to have you. And I think you did a really great job of taking the vague notes I threw at you and making them fantastic.
Yes, you did. Thanks, Steve.
I am kind of wishing that I had leaned Nate a little bit more towards the firearms side of things as opposed to the melee that is a little more difficult to actually even get into with magic users, it turns out.
Shield. I think playing Rivers of London in this prolonged story, the thing that I've really enjoyed is the normality in character, but the fun surprise as a player of the constant interaction with the Demimon. Even when you're in your home, there's pixies running around and there's the Duchess and whatnot. And even though your character, that's normal for them, for you as a player, it's like, oh, right, okay, cool, right, yeah, and this is normal. Of course it is. And then it's, having tea with penguins and popping around to see Leith, who's completely, batshit crazy.
It has to be said, Leith has been one of the true highlights. I love Leith. He's crackers.
Nice.
I don't know, I think having a character that looked up to a very established character, Nightingale, and kind of wanting to almost be able to live in the world in a similar way, it was good fun to play someone who, as Lynne kept repeatedly saying, had a death wish. As a player, you're like, yeah, this is going horrifically wrong. But as the character, you're like, this feels normal. This feels like what they should be doing, what you should be doing. Just existing in the Rivers of London world that Ben's created and Lynne's obviously refined for role-playing. It's just really, really good fun.
It seemed to make so much sense to me for you guys to spend lots of time with Demimon characters. I kind of had expected a bit less, but it just kept happening and it worked. It felt really fun.
And I appreciate, Hedge, that you found a way to incorporate some of the silliness from American Rivers and actually make it matter to the plot at the end.
Give me stuff and I'll use it. It's half the fun. Thank you all so much for playing. I think that was a really enjoyable experience for me and something that I hope people listening have really, really enjoyed. If you want to find out more about Rivers of London, visit chaosium.com on the internet where you can find lots of information. There are now beginning to be published various case files for Rivers of London. Going Underground, of course, is already out, and I believe many more are in the pipeline. So by the time you're listening to this, I hope that when you head off to find Rivers of London on the internet, you'll find many, many more stories all over the world ready to be played with many different rivers and many different wonderful characters. I have been your GM, John Hedge. You can find me on Blue Sky, on Instagram, where I juggle and jump off of things. But mostly you can find me at the Miskatonic Playhouse on all the socials. Newman.
I'm TA Newman, and you can find me on the Miskatonic Playhouse socials across pretty much all socials, but mostly in our Discord. See you there.
Lynne.
I'm Lynne Hardy. I can mostly be found hanging around at conventions on the Chaosium booth. I'm being taught how to use Discord by this disreputable lot, so you may find me hanging around in the Miskatonic Playhouse there.
And Steve.
I'm Steve. You can find me on the socials at Tall Halfling, sometimes Tall Halfling RPG. Here at the Playhouse, I've mostly been doing audio and video editing behind the scenes, but it is delightful to hop in and especially delightful to have a chance to actually play with Lynne, who was one of the first people I was editing and being in awe with then and still am now.
Oh, bless. You don't have to say nice things just because I'm here,
Never says nice things about me.
I love you, Newman.
Thank you. Finally, someone.
I promise to continue hurling abuse at you, Newman. Thank you so much for listening to The Waters of Leith. It has been a pleasure. Please, just don't make eye contact with Leith as you make your way out.